Changing the topic a bit more towards immigration, which has been one of the hot topics, right? And most of the federal candidates or the government has been running for that or against that. Now, PPC has historically been seen more restrictive stance on immigration, right? You're right. So, can you detail your party's specific immigration policies, which you think would impact Canada's economy, and how would it change the social fabric with the PPC's model or the thought process about immigration?
I think PPC's stand is very clear on this. We are the party who want to stop mass immigration, period. That's it. Okay. Now, what does that mean, right? We're not against immigrants because I'm an immigrant, right? A lot of the candidates that are running for PPC are immigrants. What we are against is unvetted, uncontrolled immigration in every sector. We need to bring in skilled people. We need to give them opportunities to actually thrive in Canada. Like, there is no point as an immigrant, there's no point in coming here if you're just gonna be in survival mode, right? If you're not gonna be able to build a Canadian dream, live a good life, buy a good house, right? Enjoy your life. Like, what is the point of having immigration if they're not going to be able to do that? And when we have excessive immigration, and you can see that everywhere on the streets, people are struggling for jobs. Why can't Canadian youth find jobs? So people would say, oh, there is lack of workforce. It's not true. Kids want to have jobs. They just, our government have created vehicles which allow companies to siphon money from federal programs. Yeah, programs and pockets to, for their own benefit. And I think we need to stop that. Like, we need to put a control on that and do immigration the right way. Like, we are here to there is no point in doing immigration so that everyone's life deteriorates, right? We need to increase the pie so that everybody can get a bigger pie.
Yeah, agree. So doesn't that come more towards, rather than immigration, it is more towards how the entire ecosystem should have been developed when the immigration is being there? Because recently, one of the ministers and I believe the main team member, they were saying that let's agree that 95% of the economic growth happens because of the immigrants or new immigrants, right? And maybe there are data which can be contrary to that. There could be data that could support that. We all have been immigrants here. So rather than targeting the immigration, because nobody was airdropped here, right? It was the federal policies where people came in, absolutely legitimately, absolutely. But they were failed because the ecosystem was not developed. Be it the jobs, be it the manufacturing sectors, be many other things, right?
Yes. Because, the other thing is, okay, so last year, it was, 1 million people?
More than 1.2, I think.
Sure, yeah. What is, to me, this is my only sort of mention or nod to the Green Party here, is if you have 1 million people coming in, that is the population of Mississauga, effectively.
Yeah, 750, yeah.
Or even more, though.
Even at a lot of Celsius, right?
When did we build another city of Mississauga in Canada? I don't remember seeing anything about that. I don't see or remember that happening. So when ends up happening, everything has to go up because 1 million people, they have to be fed, they have to have a place to live, they have to have all these other things. And we're only building, I think, 250,000 housing units across the country every year. So this is the case where people are going to have to double up in other people's basements or combinations like that. So the economic growth is misleading, horribly misleading, because, if you have 1 million people coming in there, they have to live somewhere. New things have to be constructed. Is that economic growth? Well, that's just housing created for them. And then you have to hire more people for the services that are needed there. Why do we have a doctor shortage? Well, because we can say, bring in 10,000 doctors, then bring in 1 million people. Those numbers don't jive. So as a result, you'll always be chasing it. That's why we have had a doctor crisis or a nursing crisis for over 30 years, because no one wants to crunch the numbers and say, if the population of growth is this, we need to be increasing our doctor hiring and training by this, or start stealing doctors from other countries, which is difficult because a doctor can get a better job in the US. We don't pay our doctors well, and we do not pay our nurses well, and that's why everyone's leaving. So the simple solution there was separate, pay people more. But in the case of immigration, People's Party policy right now is a moratorium on it, right? Because we need to have more of these 250,000 housing units built with no additional influx of people to fill that all up. So that way people can move out of basements. People can, no longer live 3 families in a house. One of them can move off, one of them can move off. We don't have that opportunity, and we don't have the ability to have affordable housing if everyone wants it, right? It's simple supply and demand. What happens to the price of water in a disaster area? It's $10 a bottle. You need to bring in more bottles to bring the price down. It's pretty simple. Same thing with housing. You have 1 million people demanding $250,000 or 250,000 housing units.
And Nathan, the question always comes when it comes to immigration, and I have my own views on that, so just sharing that. It's always that they say, again, there's a data that nearly 25% of doctors are going to retire in maybe next 3 to 4 years in Ontario itself, right? So if we curb the immigration, or if we do not develop the infrastructure, to put it in a bit of, right, or we do not have a proper transition of the foreign credentials, then how will that crisis be dealt with? So you do need immigration to come in, but in a proper structured way.
Correct. And even in the case of the moratorium, I'm pretty sure that certain cases like doctors and professionals will still always get in, because you still need, in the case of doctors, we need to get more doctors. Sure, let's double the number of graduates. Well, that's going to take 10 years, because a doctor graduating from, their undergrad and going into the medical field, it takes a long time.
Maybe 7 to 8 years.
Right. So the only way you're going to solve the doctor problem is you have to import, and yes, that's the way it is. And in certain cases, it's good to have, more advanced AI development. You would have to bring in certain specialized people. There's always going to be the need for specialized talent import. And I don't think that we would want to necessarily stop of that. But right now, it's an open door. And having stricter vetting and then relaxing it afterwards is how you can finally catch up on all of these issues.
And something that I want to add, I know quite a few doctors here who are practicing as, admin staff.
Or just driving Ubers.
Yeah. Driving Ubers. So perhaps a bridging group, to kind of really have these doctors work for us,
And that's an very important issue, because I have heard that exact same argument my entire life. Go back into the 90s. This was the exact same thing. We had doctors coming in, fully credentialed and wherever, who even conducted surgeries, coming into Canada, and they're taxi drivers or they're whatever. They're underemployed because they can't get the transition of credentials.
It's not easy.
And it's like, okay, well, why is there not a simple test? Why is it that this doctor cannot simply go into a first-year residency and within 1 year be fully vetted and fully approved? It's like, okay, yeah, this person did that. Over 30 years, the Conservatives have had a time to fix this. The Liberals have had a time to fix this. Jack Layton had time to fix this.
He always speak about